dear student. How are you today? Here it's Unit 3, Lesson 2. We will talk about environmental balance. Environmental balance. First, let's start with ecosystem. What is the meaning of ecosystem? It's any natural area including living organisms, as plants and animals, and non-living organisms or non-living things as water, soil, and air. What are the components of ecosystem? The components of ecosystem: number 1, living organisms as plant, fungi, algae, and animals. Number 2, non-living things as air, soil, and water. Let's talk about classification of ecosystem according to their size. They're classified into small as an area of land or water pond. B. Large as forest, desert, or an ocean. C. Very large as the universe that is considered the unified ecosystem. So we classified ecosystem according to their size into small, large, very large. Let's talk about the relationship between the components of the ecosystem. By looking at the opposite ecosystem, you will note that there are many relationships between the components of the ecosystem, as number 1, the relationship between plants and the soil, where plants depend on the soil to absorb water and salts that are necessary to make their own food by photosynthesis process. C. The relationship among different animals, where some animals feed on other animals to get food and energy. So when the relationship among the components of the ecosystem are stable, an environmental balance is occurred. So what is the environmental balance? It is a balance among the components of ecosystem. The interaction among environmental components is a continuous process. This interaction keeps the balance among these components unless a disturbance arises as a result of many factors. So what is the factors that harm the environmental balance? Number 1, natural changes. What is the natural change? Change in the natural conditions. An ecosystem causes a disturbance that leads to disappearance of some organisms or appearance of other organisms, or environmental imbalance that may take a short or long period of time until a new balance occurs in the environment. Okay, let's take an example. In ancient eras, a change in the natural conditions of the environment led to the disappearance of dinosaurs, causing their extinction. Another factor is man interference. Some human activities led to the disturbance of the environmental balance. Among these human activities, number 1, cutting down trees. 2, polluting the environment. Number 3, eroding the soil. Let's take an example. Cutting down trees as the green plants or trees are the main source of food and oxygen for all living organisms. So what are the factors that keep the environmental balance? We have 2 factors. Number 1, predation. Number 2, subrepticism. Let's start with predation. Predation organizes the number of prey population, where predators help prey to get rid of weak or sick members and let the strong ones reproduce, adding strong members to population. If there were no predators in ecosystem, the environmental balance will be disturbed, as number of prey will increase to an extent that the available food resources become insufficient or not enough for prey. Second reason, competition appears among prey population, so prey will die because they haven't shelter and become weak and feeble or infected with diseases, which lead to their death. So give a reason. Predation relationship plays an important role in keeping the balance of ecosystem. Why? Because the predation relationship organizes the numbers of prey population. Number two, saprophytes. If there were no saprophytes in ecosystem, the environmental balance will be disturbed, as the Earth's surface will be covered with the bodies of dead organisms, and chemical elements found in the bodies of dead organisms will not be recycled to the environment, so the other living organisms can't get benefit from these elements. Note that man can benefit from saprophytic organisms in many industries such as food industry. Some saprophytic organisms are used in making some types of food such as cheese, bread, yogurt, vinegar, and alcohol. And drugs industry. Some saprophytic organisms are used in manufacturing some drugs or medicines, such as antibiotics. Note that man can benefit from saprophytic organisms in many industries, such as leather tanning industry. Some saprophytic organisms are used in tanning of natural leather. We reach the end of this lesson. Wish you understand this lesson and study hard. Goodbye.